How do you describe the objective of this committee?
Well, our objective is not to have a discussion whether climate change is happening or not, but it's to have a discussion and get some facts on what this is going to cost the average Canadian on the street. There's a kind of a false feeling around there that in the public that, look, it's not going to cost me anything. Some large corporation is going to have to pay for, getting a lot of green energy in Canada, and that's not going to affect me. What we want to do is find out how it's going to affect Fred and Martha on the street, and that's regular taxpayers, because that's where the costs actually go down to, is the end purchaser.
So it's quite a massive undertaking to arrive at that kind of a calculation.
Well, it's going to take a fair amount of work. I think there's lots of information out there that we just have to gather and get the right witnesses to come and testify to give us that information. That's what we're looking for, and then our Library of Parliament analysts, along with ourselves, will try to work that out to the best way that we possibly can. But it's a huge undertaking.
Why do you think that the cost calculation has been omitted in anything else we've done on this file? We've set targets, we've had long-term strategy for Canada with, reduction targets. Why do you think there's never been a cost calculation?
Well, I would guess that governments have probably done a cost calculation. I'm only going to guess that. But it's much easier to say, oh, we have to clean up the environment, and we have to match what they're doing in other parts of the world, and all of those kind of things. Those are an easy sell. But when you start telling the public, it's just like raising a tax. Well, guess what? We're going to raise a tax on you. It's not accepted well by the public, and the politicians kind of shy away from that, to be perfectly honest.
But to what degree is that disingenuous? We're going to give you climate change reductions, but we're not going to tell you that it's...
Well, I think it is a bit disingenuous, because before you go to Paris and say, we're going to meet this particular target, and when you look at the numbers that we have today, even if you actually eliminated the oil and gas industry totally, completely, 100%. I mean, you would totally stop Canada, but let's just imagine you could do that, and left everything in the ground and didn't have any oil and gas or any coal usage in Canada at all, you still wouldn't meet the targets. So it's unfortunate. What we have to do is dig through all the information and see what we can find out to say, look, this is what it's going to cost you, and this is what it's going to take. And it's not just going to be money. To people, it'll be money in new taxes and new fees, new costs, greater costs for the things that they already consume. But in what I think is going to come out is a huge job loss. We're going to transfer those jobs to someplace else in the world, and unfortunately we can't live without oil and gas today. There is no magic thing out there that says you can just park it all on the ground and live without it. So the other option is to import all of those options that we wouldn't be able to produce ourselves, and that's where our jobs go someplace else. And I don't want to see that happen. I want to see us be smart about the environment. I come from British Columbia. I was a minister who introduced many things that had to do with trying to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, but still understanding that there's going to be a lot of greenhouse gas emissions for a long time to come from fossil fuels because of the fact that we need them.